Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Mario here, and I'm Buttercup here, and I'm Applejack here, and I'm Knuckles the Echidna, and I'm Blossom here, and welcome back for some more Team Chaotix action in Sonic Heroes.
Here's your next mission. There are huge frogs in the stone. Once they start to cook, if they start to rain, you'll be spotted easily. Get through the jungle without being detected by the frogs.
So anyways, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Heroes, as I mentioned this earlier. So last time that you, Applejack, and Knuckles and Blossom usually just managed to go around in Casino Park and Bingo Highway, and also not to mention the Rail Cannon and Bullet Station, and also beat the likes out of the Robot Carnival and also a Galvatros. So today for this episode is the fact that you guys are now going to be moving on into the next level, which was Frog Forest. And the objective for this level this time around, though, is the fact that in this level specifically, you don't want to get spotted by these frogs. I believe I've already mentioned about this little don't get detected system in this game, which what that allows you to do is that all you have to do is use SBO the Chameleon for the whole entire time. And basically what he just possessed is the fact that you can actually just camouflage himself so that he doesn't get spotted with those different things. Like, yeah, that's all there is to say about these little detectives did not get being detective stuff. So, yeah, you have to be constantly using that a lot, even though I was going to be taking control of SBO the Chameleon for this whole entire... What?! I didn't jump correctly! That's just plain rude. And of course, unfortunately, you have to restart the whole sequence again, so that's just a bit of a waste of time. But even then though, let's just hope if we actually try this again, so even then though we can hopefully, God forbid, if we actually just try and pass it this time, so at least I was hoping for that already. So, as far as the extra mission in Frog Forest is concerned, it will probably go for the exactly same thing, like do not get detected by the frogs, but except the fact that it's now added in a time limit feature, so... yeah, that's as far as I was going to be hoping for, as far as this is concerned correctly, so... but even then though, as far as I noticed that already, I think let me try with without even a flying type character. Will this work? Of course it will not work, because the jump dash doesn't reachable enough. Because the only thing about this is that you need to be very careful to not get, you don't want to get, go in front of the froggy itself, because basically if you do manage to go in front of him without it being some sort of like camouflage or anything like that, you'll easily get spotted, so you just have to be very careful. So yeah, that's what I was going to be thinking of trying to do, so even then that was easily my fault there, so I have to be really brutally honest here. So yeah, a few things I want to mention about this is the fact that I believe I sort of briefly mentioned about the Kingdom Hearts HD Kingdom Hearts Key Union Cross, that the game that I did manage to download it during almost a year ago now. But the thing is about this game though, to me though, compared to how it does it in the other Kingdom Hearts games, is the fact that of all the Kingdom Hearts games I've played, I think Kingdom Hearts Key Union Cross at the moment for the time being, it's something that's more relatable to a discussion about this kind of things until today. Because even though we will discuss most of those stuff as soon as we actually get into the most tedious level of Team Chaotix. So anyway though, let's go ahead and just camouflage SBO right there, and hopefully I can get onto this rail right there so I can get myself some extra boost of extra 1-ups. So even though that's hopefully you can get yourself some extra lives back after losing those two from falling down to the bottomless pit, and even everyone else for that matter. I believe the end of the level is almost nearby, so even then though, I'm pretty sure this level is quite literally quite short for the most part, so that's always been a good thing, in my ad. So about the Kingdom Hearts Key Union Cross, which is essentially the updated version of Unchained Key. The reason why I decided to actually discuss this is because I've actually decided to actually quit the game, because although the presentation is okay, but even then though, the music is really good all in all, just like it does in the HD remastered versions of 1 and 2. However though, the thing is about that game is the fact that I found the gameplay too obnoxious, and plus, the levels themselves really overstay their welcome. At this point, it should be a little accurately 650 at the moment, which takes way too freaking long for a Kingdom Hearts game this time around. So even then though, I kind of prefer the whole entire aspect of Kingdom Hearts 2 by a long shot, so yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and deal with these enemies right here. But even then, we can hopefully just try to actually destroy these robots, and even just grabbing those rings as a result. So, oh, I don't want to get spotted right there, so it's up to you, Applejack. Yeah, and I believe the end of the level is just right over there, so another point A to point B type of level, but except the fact that you don't want to easily get spotted with the Froggy himself. So if you do manage to caught by the Froggy, then obviously you have to restart to the point until you actually touch the previous checkpoint. So yeah, that's one thing I need to clarify that. And it looks like you guys managed to got 2 emblems left until you get yourselves the next unlockable mode in the multiplayer aspect. Now, next up we have is Lost Jungle, Rescue 10 Chao.
Here's your next mission. You're up in the jungle in Lost Jungle. You must protect them from Eggman. Find and protect 10 Chao.
So, similar to how it does in an Ocean Palace level, is the fact that even though we've already rescued from the Chao earlier ago, now we need to deal with only 10 Chaos. So even then though, if you find all 10 Chao, when it doesn't matter what Chaos you'll be finding it, just like the capsules, and even casino chips, and also golden turtle enemies, and even Hermit crabs so far. But even then though, as far as I've noticed right off the bat, is the fact that we need to actually just find all 10 of them, and if you do find the 10 of them, then obviously the level's completed. However though, the extra version of this mission is the fact that in the extra mission on this level is the fact that you need to find all 20 Chaos. So that's a double the amount of Chaos you need to find, so yeah, the only major difference was though is that, again, you have to obviously find them all in their specific locations. I found finding the Chaos a lot more easier compared to how it does it, although we still managed to find the Hermit crabs really easy because they are pretty easy to spot, and also at the same time they're usually in colored ground and all that stuff. However though, I found the finding the Chaos can be quite easy for this part, because even then though, there could be some segments that you easily find those Chaos in those specific areas, so even then, that's not really expected to see how this goes, so anyway, so yeah, as a result though, however though, I'm actually decided to actually delete that application, and also I'm never going to touch the game again, because unlike in other Kingdom Hearts games, I have no problems with it whatsoever in Kingdom Hearts 2, Birth by Sleep, and etc. However though, I will admit though is that the Union Cross doesn't seem too comfortable for my liking, although it's basically a, just so you know, a go on the go type of game, just like a Nintendo Switch, or likely most of the majority of Nintendo Switch games. However though, I will admit though, it's the fact that I'm not a big fan of the gameplay aspect of Union Cross to me, because as far as to this point is the fact that you're spending most of your time just wasting a lot of cash, even real money as a result, if you want to get those medals. Even especially noticeable is that if you want to actually get those stronger variations of the medals themselves, then obviously you're able to actually just waste a lot of money or cash, which that's the really problem I have with the game. And also at the same time, it's network-only game, which is, you know, a little bit disrupting at points, which is basically more likely exactly the same thing as somewhat so for Sonic Runners, originally back in 2015. But even then, though, that service on that game has now been entirely deleted because of the exact problems of that game. So, yeah, that's why we're essentially trying to actually quit Kingdom Hearts Union Cross now. So even then, though, that because I'm pretty much done with that. So because I can't go forward on one point, I think the only quest you did done, Mario, was actually Forma 500 quest. But even then, though, I will discuss more into the details on that later.
Excuse me, miss. I was wondering if I could ask you something.
If it's about a date, it'll have to wait.
Date? You think this is a joke, you little brat?
Now hand over that chow nice and easy.
I bet you're the ones who took Chocolate Chow.
What?
It's not nice to tease my friends.
Yeah, time to rock and roll.
Okay, so now we're going to be dealing with the final character battle, and that's the form of the heroes themselves. Yeah, hopefully we can kick their butt. Yeah, exactly, for sure.
I'll never let you take cheese from me. I'll do my
There's
best.
gotta be a major misunderstanding here, but we can't back down now.
Now, out of all the characters you'll be seeing on this little introduction clip, that Karina Rabbit, she's the only flying type character that actually just said something rather than just Amy Rose especially, because originally that Amy Rose was supposed to talk for this little introduction. However though, it's actually Karina Rabbit instead, because you know, SBO is trying to go after the Chow, so yeah, that's what I was going to be saying for this originally. So, yeah, there you go. That concludes all the character battles.
Forgive me, but this is our duty.
So anyways, now you guys are moving on into perhaps is one of the worst levels between the Hanged Castle or Mystic Mansion. Although, I will admit though, Hanged Castle wasn't so bad. Get the keys inside the Haunted Castle, basically, so, you know.
Talk about a huge misunderstanding.
Yeah, sure made fools out of ourselves.
Nothing new for you, Vector.
What? You were the first one to jump at the chance.
No time for arguing. Now's the time to be on guard. It's very mysterious around here. Here's your next mission. You'll need to find the keys to open the doors found inside the castle. Find 10 keys.
So yeah, in order to actually find those keys is the fact that you have to find all 10 of them. So, not just any 5 keys, and unlike when we actually get into later, but only 10 of one of those keys you need to be finding. So, as a result though, however, this level can be really tedious at times, especially noticeable if you actually missed out only one key, and you have to really go ahead and backtrack for these most parts. Because, yeah, between this level and especially Mystic Mansion, which we'll get into later, is probably by far the worst levels within Chaotix, because you might get confused and lost in those specific locations. So, now, as far as extra mission on this level is concerned, it will probably be something that's a little bit more too different, like a mismatch between a combination of the two, which is finding keys without being detecting these enemies. So, yeah, that could be pretty tricky and just plus at the same time quite challenging too. Okay, let's go ahead and grab ourselves you know, the flower detective side of things. So yeah, let's go ahead and just before we actually do anything else, just go ahead and just touch this, and hopefully we can actually just go back into its normal state. So yeah, best idea is to actually just to take down the golden enemy so that it'll just do like a screen note to something. So probably worth mentioning. Well, luckily though that these keys are in plain sight though, so even then though that you should be able to be spotted those things no problem. Sometimes you have to be getting used to with a lot of like alternate ways you can go to. Like for instance, for example, that if you're first time playing for this level right here as Team Chaotix, you're expecting that originally you'll be about to be going down to this rail grinding segment, but it turns out you have to go up until you actually realize you're able to find yourselves a Mystic Mansion's key. So even then though, you should be able to clarify to find that. So yeah, for those of you very curious. Okay, so I believe the next key was actually down there, but before we do anything else for that matter, Mario, is the fact that I believe Blossom is going to be actually dealing with this little flowery teleportation device, so that way we should be able to actually clarify for doing this. And right about that, there's another key, which should be just around here, so yeah, that's all I can say about this here. So let's go ahead and just take this golden robot down, so just in case you'll actually do a screen nuke, basically. So, and strangely enough though, it usually takes place on almost near the end of a level, but it's no point for actually getting into this pole vault for the time being. Unless if you actually be using the action replay or anything like that, one of these codes you can actually input in is actually the moon jump. I don't know if the moon jump was actually included, but even then I'll never know. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just shoot at these targets over there. So, yeah, another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that now, you remember when I mentioned it earlier about the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross key that I decided to quit on that game? I think the reason being for that is that I was at one point at quest number 500 where it can take a little bit too dragged out at one point. And also that judged by the fact that how I was originally trying to fight against the Dark Side, which is the next boss I was encountered with. However, the bad thing about this is that even though I actually wasted about 500 joules, and then next thing what happens was though is the fact that whenever I was trying to finish him off, like you know this little numbered plus base type of text, what happens was though is that he generated his health back, which really pissed me off right now, which I really do apologize for this little language right there folks, because I really can't stand that game anymore. Well, thankfully though, however, though, Mario, you did manage, I've heard that you managed to realize that you managed to recently re-downloaded the My Little Pony application game this time around. Yeah, because that way, that game will actually give me some credit, to actually makes me think that, although it does, again, waste your money again, but even then though, that I don't find any of these wasting money to be that intrusive this time around. But even then though, that's as far as I was going to be hoping for that anyway. And also some plenty of updates here and there too, like basically, for instance, based off of from the finale of Season 6. And I was really hoping that we were trying to actually make the application game of My Little Pony the movie, which, sure enough, we only got about 4 months to go until when that movie is about to be released, mainly in North America and in Europe especially. So even then, it might be looking exciting for it. And speaking of such though, is that recently during 2 days ago is the fact that there's actually a new Pixar film that actually came out during the last 2 days, which is called Cars 3. Which, as far as I've heard from the reviews of that film, it was actually a little bit more likely a mixed bag of any sorts. Like, some people usually think that it's considerably quite good, while a lot of times it might be too much negative. So even then though, let's just say it was gonna be a mixed feelings about Cars 3, so... But even then though, we haven't got a chance to see the film just yet, until when it gets to the point until, next month eventually. Yeah, like most any other Pixar films, most notably in, oh, we managed to get ourselves a new multiplayer mode, which is called Ring Race. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And now we're moving on into probably the worst level for Team Chaotix. Oh, Mystic Mansion.
Here's your next mission. We will escape from the mysterious castle as long as the red torches are burning. Extinguish all of the red torches.
So yeah, if you thought that finding these, all 10 of these, you know, keys wasn't bad enough, prepare for yourself is probably the worst mission in the entire game, and now see a form of extinguish all 60 of those red torches. So, if you think that wasn't bad enough, and compared to the extra mission on this specific level, which is by far the most tedious out of them all, is the fact that in the extra mission you can only extinguish blue torches. So, that's a little bit of a waste of time on that specific mission without doubt. But even then though, that if you do miss one torch, then you have to go and backtrack and everything like that. And sometimes this mission in particular can overstay the welcome, like you actually wasted about 10 minutes and stuff, so this is the only level where we can actually fully experience with it with at least 10 minutes, which is really tacked on, really dragged on, and everything else in this aspect about this mission is such a tedious chore to go through, so... Well, luckily though, we can only do this like for only one time only, so even then though, yeah. So yeah, basically what you have to do in this specific mission, without doubt it though, is the fact that you obviously have to be constantly using SBO most of the time. And what happens most though is that obviously you're gonna have to extinguish all the torches. So in order to do this though, however though, is the fact that you need to actually just constantly jump in and just pressing the B button at the same time, so that you're able to actually do a little bit of a tornado wind, so that way it can deal all the torches. So yeah, you can simply just bypass all these abundance of enemies right there. Yeah, which is pretty cool if you ask me, Applejack, because considering how the fact that it might be a recommendable thing. And we lost all of our rings because of this little phantom, little lantern ghost. That's the one thing that really annoys about me. That's the one thing that really annoys me about this level, though. I will admit, though, Blossom, is the fact that every time when me and Buttercup is struggling to get that special stage key like this, and if you think about if you're trying to actually keep the special stage key for about a long amount of time, however, though, that judging by what I've heard from Buttercup, is the fact that you two managed to got screwed over by these annoying ghost enemies. Which, as far as I can tell, because of this random movement or anything like that, I think that's what they're really going for here for me, though. So, anyway, now let's go ahead and just fly towards these little peculiar plates types of platforms so that we can instantly manage to get into this little top portion of the level, so, you know. So, yeah, you remember how that we decided to actually mention about the, oh yeah, if you manage to touch through here, then I'm pretty sure this will actually lead you to the blue torch, which, sure enough, it wasn't exactly too much of its own compensate, so... Yeah, which as far as I've noticed already, oh yeah, that thing, well that switch is already active, so even I also have to switch back. Oh, that's a little bit too much of a waste of time here, Blossom. Yeah, sorry, this is my fault there. Well, don't be too bad for yourself there, Blossom, I must admit, because you just have to double check on certain stuff. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and just go for this little flower teleportation device, and there's gonna be a whole lot of torches we have to extinguish for this little hallway. So, you know about what I wish I was trying to say to you guys, that I wish I was supposed to let you guys know that we decided to tackle through the super hard mode of Sonic Heroes. I originally stated that it will just try to make it happen. However, though, due to the time length and that kinds of stuff, for that specific reason, that will never going to happen, because obviously you go. Here's an example of super hard mode works in Sonic Heroes. Now, I already mentioned this before, that in order to actually unlock the mode is simply just actually get yourselves all the A ranks in every single levels. However, though, the thing is about the super hard mode is the fact that you're playing through as Team Sonic, and you're gonna be exploring for the 14 stages for the 5th time. Except the fact it's much more harder this time, so that's why we're essentially not going to be tackling through the super hard mode in this game, because for number one, we haven't got a chance to beat the entire difficulty, and secondly is the fact that it's pretty much tiring some if you're actually just trying to play for the game like 5 times in a row so far, so that's why 4 is going to be twice as enough at this point. So even then, that we decided to actually just go ahead and finish that Let's Play in the middle part of June. So even then, that's until the next 3D Sonic game Let's Play, we'll decide to the other toys will decide to tackle through. Now it's the form of Sonic Colors, and even next month we got some Sonic Generations on its way, specifically the Xbox 360 version most likely. And there's also for the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which should be up until September, after the Sonic's Game Gear Marathon is finished, until when it gets to August time. So, can you at least grab the Switch? Thank you. God, that's really irritating me. Yeah, because the only thing is about this, Blossom, is the fact that sometimes if you're trying to grab the Switch as a flying type character, sometimes the game decides to actually do not register the button presses, which always starts to really irritate me for the most part, which is especially noticeable if you want to desperately need to actually, like, you know, try to actually go through everything, so. And that's okay, because we already lost the special stage key, because we already can tell that we've already gotten every single chaos symbols in the game, so there's no need for actually just to gain to the special stages, you know, Knuckles. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. So, anyway, so yeah, as far as I've noticed right off the bat though, is the fact that even though we haven't exactly watched Cars 3 just yet until next month, but we'll get to the final thoughts of that Cars 3 until we actually decide to tackle through Sonic Generations again for the 3rd time. So yeah, that's as far as I was going to be expecting it to. So anyway, there's also another thing I'd like to point things out though, is the fact that until when it gets to the point, until during today, that I decided to actually delete these videos of the Let's Play of Mario Kart 8, because I like to decide to actually redo that game again, because although the quality itself is pretty good, don't get me wrong, but it's just that the sound effects has gone a little bit too quiet. And also at the same time, it's pretty unnecessary to actually put in the Mario Party Island Tour minigame rules music every time at the end of the episode, so that's one thing I need to point things out right off the bat though. And also that I would like to point things out is that we'd like to tackle through not just the Wii U version, but also the Nintendo Switch version as well, for specifically when we actually discuss onto this kinds of stuff. I believe I believe Sonic and Sylvester already originally did manage to done that Let's Play. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned with that already, so. Anyway, so I believe we actually got ourselves, let's say 12 torture slabs. So even then, I'm pretty sure we can get this darn level done, because that's gone way too long right now. Like 8 minutes, 8 minutes in this one mission. That's just tedious. Anyway, though, oh goodness gracious me, land on that rail. Okay, good. So that way you should be able to qualify to actually just to get onto this torches. Okay, so we only got 10 left, so up to you, Blossom, to actually avoid this little treacherous bone rail grinding. Uh-oh, we actually got none rings. We need some rings before we actually did manage to die on that, and then if we do die, then we can pretty guarantee we get some E rank, so that would probably be the worst aspect about this. So, yeah, that's what I can say. Oh yeah, as far as I know as well about those, that recently in Russia, most likely, they recently released on the Android, and even the English version as a result too, they decided to manage to release the spiritual sequel to Sonic Runners called Sonic Runners Adventure. Now, as far as I've heard from that gameplay, it feels exactly like it does in the original version, except the fact they did manage to fix a lot of issues that I have with the original release. I believe first things first is that they do manage to fix the unlockable character system, I believe, as far as that. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that the physics doesn't usually feel as glitchy as the upper version, so at least that's been improved. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I can guarantee I can't wait for that. So there's the last 2 torches. Thank goodness for that, because we want to get this tedious level done. And we should be able to actually clarify we're not going to be touching this level ever again. Yeah, as a matter of fact though, that we pretty much accomplished it now, so yeah, that's it. Oh wait, I don't know how much minutes we actually spent wasting on this level up to. 10 minutes!
Be on guard. Focus and prepare yourself.
10 minutes in this one level? That's just really long. Almost until when it's like, almost like Sonic Unleashed, Eggman Land Syndrome. Anyways, now you guys are moving on into Robot Storm, which I think is going to be most likely going to be twice as difficult as Team Dark in variation.
There you are, you mustache moron! He's the one, right?
Mustache moron? I'm the world's greatest. Take him out, quickly.
This is gonna cost you extra.
This particular dialogue feels a bit familiar. If you recognize the dialogue names like, Mustache Moron, I'm the world's greatest, and decide to cut that, so I think this might actually give us a hint. But even then, we'll never know until when that time comes though, Applejack. We'll just have to wait and see, while me and Buttercup will watch you guys enjoy this particular enemy endurance run. So yeah, basically, now this makes it a little bit more tappable, longer, and also quite challenging at the same time. Well, because of this though, Knuckles, is the fact that there's gonna be quite a lot of tough enemies involved this time, and also at the same time, we have to deal with this one unique, type of, section, which we'll get into in just a moment, so... And as I mentioned this earlier ago, or even Buttercup already mentioned this before, this is quite easy to actually rank up a ton of more rings, because especially noticeable if you want to desperately need to use the Team Blast attack, as you can see, now you should be able to actually clarify, you can actually kick the enemy's butts anytime, anywhere. So, yeah, that's pretty cool for the most part, especially that... Actually, I will admit though, is that this variation is not that difficult. Although the only time it makes it a little bit difficult is that you guys should be able to actually come across into it when it gets too later. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get some crap ton of rings. And I believe we actually got ourselves 103 rings. Even though, despite the fact that we already lose a whole bunch from earlier ago. But that's okay, Applejack, because even though we pretty much got this. So, yeah, with that being said though, super hard mode in Sonic Heroes is definitely not going to happen, because obviously that, you're going to do the exactly same thing, but just with, difficulty, level design, and also the enemy placements here and there too, so... Yeah, there's no point for you to actually just tackle for that mode either, so... Yeah, so that's what I can really say about this video, honestly. It's just the fact the matter is for, cars like... Oh no, we lose a crap ton of rings! Even though we did originally try to save up, but still, that's, you know, the cheap enemy placement can't be immediately thing. So, anyway, before we actually just continue, let's go ahead and get some even more rings, so that we can instantly manage to simultaneously, while Blossom is going to be dealing with constantly spamming Thunder Shields, to even end up that we can able to use the Team Blast attack. So, how about that? Yeah, that should be able to deal with this particular parts in this level, so... I believe that it's really easy to actually get ourselves a maxed out rings kind of thing about. You can actually reach over to 999 rings for surely. But it depends on the different tastes on these little Team Blast gauge. So, okay, so this is the part I was talking about. It just makes it a little bit more difficult than the likes of Team Dark and Team Sonic's in variation. It's the fact that once this section is done, the next thing you need to know is that we need to actually switch between the power type characters now, because the premise of this particular section is the fact that it's more likely kind of reminds me of like a Pachinko machine. is the fact that you need to actually do like a perfect timing to actually hit those egg flippers. At the same time, these egg birds most likely too. And there's the thing though, is that you need to do this a lot of timing work going on here, as I mentioned this earlier. But even then, it takes a lot of patience to actually go for this whole entirety of these little enemies' destruction or anything like that. So yeah, that's the ultimate major premise of this though, Blossom. So yeah. Anyway though, so I'm pretty sure we're almost done with this for the most part. And even then though, that yeah. Now, no matter what though, whenever I got to this point that you and me, Knuckles, did manage to tackle this point, right? Yeah. That I still even remember that even to this day. That I still even recognize that we did spend most of the time on this level for almost approximately 10 minutes or so, because, or mainly, 10 minutes or less. I think it's most likely just the fact in this particular section is a prime example. I suppose I really don't think they can actually deal with the Team Blast attack on this part, I don't think. Although I may be wrong about this, but even though I was incredibly honest here. But even then though, that because, you know, if you're trying to attack these enemies within just a further distance away from it, or maybe just you have to get close onto these specific enemies in order to actually defeat them. So, yeah, that's my only major concern. So yeah, I guess that's all I was trying to say basically, besides the fact... Oh yeah, there's one more thing before we actually end things off for this point, is the fact that we decided to actually let Sonic Colors Let's Play delayed only one day. That's only because we just want to get this game done until when we decide, or the other toys decide to tackle through Sonic Colors in that time. So, and another thing is worth mentioning though, is that unfortunately the playthrough on Sonic the Hedgehog 4, specifically episode 1, Metal, and 2, that playthrough will be going delayed until October. So because of that, as for this point, that we need to actually decide to actually tackle through quite a lot of Let's Plays in that time, and also we just want to get these Let's Plays done first. So, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on this particular speech at this point, so... Okay, so we need to actually get this last red bird over there. Let's see if we can get him. Nope, we actually overshoot him, but even that though... No, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be watching them. Come on, you guys, I hope you can get this one right. At least we're expecting that if it only depends on the timing work. Okay, good. Okay, so that's the longest part done, and now we'll be able to continue on. So even then, this should be much more easier, and also, even though I don't really think we can actually deal with these little, although, yeah. Oh wow, we got ourselves 315 rings. Yeah, it's really easy to get a lot of rings in this particular area, even especially noticeable the continuous Team Blast attack. So anyways, let's go ahead and use that again, so that we can even get even more rings, how much rings we can get. And we can now reach up to 420. You guys are almost there to 999 rings at this point. But still, sometimes depends on the different tastes, all that kinds of stuff. Ouch. Okay, that's it. This time, let's use that Team Blast attack for one final time. And we got 530 rings, so that was about 100 more for that one point or another. So, hee-haw!
Don't get too excited, boys. Those were the easy ones.
So yeah, that was about it basically. So we'll start to end things off here just as from that. So join me and Buttercup, Knuckles, Applejack, and Blossom next time on Let's Play Sonic Heroes Team Chaotix playthrough. Is in fact that we're about to finish off with Team Chaotix mode. So see you guys then. Really? D rank?